today we have art. These are the choices that the art teacher have left. I picked and chose several of these. Draw a picture about a dream you had. Draw a picture about a magical candy. Draw a picture of a colorful garden. Draw a photo or a picture of a place you visited. Must fill the entire page, must be neatly done, and must include your name at the bottom of paper. What I'm finding is that a lot of these children don't even write their names on their papers when they get them. So that's what went on yesterday for third grade. Today I have every grade level. Right now there are no children in here because they don't start coming in until like around 9 something. As you can see, this art room is really big. It's about 32 chairs in here. I was taking the chairs down. I haven't finished doing that. They probably can do it when they come in here. I didn't even see this. So that's nice. I bet you they probably don't even come out there to eat. But yes, it's a nice sunny day. I was just extremely tired when I woke up, so I didn't do much with myself, y'all. This is what I got going on. I need to still wash my hair. Haven't done that yet. I don't know who sits at this back art table, or if this is just for like a problem child or whatever. But I'm gonna probably take these chairs down. Y'all, I had some video footage at the house, at my parents' house, and my daddy was like showing the yard. That got deleted off of my SD card, so I'm disappointed about that. My mother's birthday is coming up on Monday. I would like to make a surprise visit, but it's only if circumstances and time permits. So now I'm going to go ahead and take these chairs down. So I'm going to set this camera here. If you want to watch, you can. They take the chairs down and put them up, because I'm thinking like, oh, you're putting the chairs up so the janitors can come in and sweep and mop the floors. They don't be mopping these nasty, dirty floors. Like, this floor isn't dirty because it's a new school, but look, these tables need cleaning. They need to, actually, they need some type of wipes in here to clean these tables off because they are dirty. And that's how the school starts to become dingy looking, when you don't do regular cleaning. So that's what's going on. Yeah, it makes no sense. I don't understand why they don't have janitors to mop these nasty floors that I be seeing. And actually, this floor could use some cleaning itself. Now that I'm looking at it, but I've seen way far worse. Trust me. It doesn't make any sense at all. So I'm gonna try to remove these chairs, and then I'll tune in with y'all later. All right, y'all, I am back. This is probably the best part of the day. They're not in here. And so I was caught off guard because the schedule said that I didn't have anybody until after 9. But lo and behold, a teacher popped up with her students. Third graders came in here at 8:30, and they were very talkative, rambunctious, and I'm not in the mood for it today, y'all. I really feel tired. I really was on the verge of not even coming in and just doing something for real estate today. I was going to go try to show a property, do something different. But I didn't want to like cancel my schedule and call out at the last minute, because these schools really need, like, people to show up. And it kind of makes them have to reshuffle everything when people don't show up. So I know that the entire school depends on the special teachers, because art, music, gym, like, they see every grade level and they deal with these children every day. So they see every child in the school. So if you don't have a specialist teacher, then it kind of throws everything off for everybody else. Probably what they would have done was split the children up into like the other classes. Instead of having art today, they probably would have sent some of them to gym, some of them to media, some of them to lab, or something like that. So that means they would have just had extra children in their class. But that's what's going on right now. I just had a Snickers bar, which is probably not the best thing to have early, but I had it anyway, y'all. Just low energy today. I really woke up at like 3 a.m. and kind of been up ever since. Haven't really gone back to sleep, thanks to the cats waking me up for food. I'm really going to have to remember to put them in the cage, but y'all, I fell asleep and forgot to put them in the cage. So I'm going to make a concerted effort at a certain time at night to have a better schedule so that my day can start better, because that really impacts the rest of the day. And I don't know, y'all. I feel queasy at my stomach. Kind of felt anxious yesterday, nervous. Just a lot of different things going on. But anyway, I will talk to y'all later. And thank you so much for my new subscribers. And thank you for following my videos. All right. Talk to you later.
All right, y'all. Greetings. Welcome to another episode of Brown Girls Are Beautiful. Today's video is going to be my advice to anybody who is thinking about becoming a teacher or going into the education field. So right now, I know on April 5th in this district, they are going to be having like some type of job seminar. It came through on my phone as a text message. Basically, it's a possibilities career, and they're going to be holding it from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the convention center. So what I want to say about this is, if you are thinking about becoming a teacher and you like working with children, this is an opportunity for you that you've been thinking about for a long time. I want to caution you to do something, and I don't want to be discouraging, but I would like to say an alternative would be to, instead of just going for a degree in education or, I really honestly, and this is what I'm telling you this wholeheartedly, you don't need a degree in education to teach. And I know that sounds like peculiar, but you really don't. And I'm going to tell you why. This particular job posting, they're saying that it doesn't matter what your degree is in. If you have a bachelor's degree, come out, all right? So for me in particular, because my dream, ever since I was a child in second grade, was writing. I wanted to be an author. I also liked art, and I wanted to be an artist, okay? So very creative. And then as I got older, I liked music. I became a music major. And then I also wanted to be a dancer and a choreographer, but was too shy to audition and do all of that. So I ended up following the path of music, and then I switched my major to English. So I have a music degree and I have an English degree because I like writing. Everything to do with the language arts I always excelled in. So with that being said, most people said, "Oh, you probably want to be a teacher because you're an English major," and that thought never crossed my mind. Even though, at some point in my life, I said I wouldn't mind working with children. I like working with children, but it can be overwhelming. Like for me, today is an overwhelming day because I don't feel like dealing with a whole bunch of noise, and I'm just thinking about what teachers go through from day in to day out. Like if you don't feel like dealing with it, behavioral issues, disrespect, noise, they are always vying for your attention, tattletaling, just dealing with a lot and outside of the administrative things. So what my advice is to anybody that's thinking about getting into the teacher field is substitute teach first. Substitute teach first. Substitute teach first, because this allows you to segue into different schools in that district, and you get to go all around and pick and choose what school you want to substitute for. See what that school is like, get to know the staff, get to understand what the principal is like, because some schools, I went to one school and the principal was very nasty to me for no reason. Like, it was my first time there. I had done nothing to anyone, and she just had a very nasty demeanor. I never went back after that. Not to mention, those students were off the chain. Like, I didn't know that some elementary schools went up to 7th grade. And when I tell you it is a very hostile environment at some of these schools, I refuse to deal with anybody past elementary, and I'm talking about 5th grade. I don't really deal with them past 3rd grade, and 4th grade is pushing it for me, because I basically am around the same height as some of these children, same size as some of these, and they're bigger and taller. So that's something for you to take into consideration. One of the 3rd graders yesterday told me that one of the boys was going around lunging at the girls. He had already broken a teacher's hand. I don't know how he did that. I was told at another school last year that one of the students in kindergarten had done something to the teacher and put her out. She was out for 3 days because they broke her nose or something. I can't remember, but I'm like, how does this even get to the point where this happens? So again, I'm going to tell you, before you get yourself into something that you feel like you're stuck in, please substitute teach first and see if this is something that you really want to do. And if you find a particular grade level that fits you, then you can keep, substituting for that grade level. Find the teachers' names in the database, exchange contact information. Let the teacher know if you enjoyed her class or his class, you'd like to be the point of contact in case they ever need you for an assignment, if they're going on vacation, if they're going to be out. In my particular case, last school year, one of the teachers that I met went out on maternity leave, and she picked and chose me to see if I would finish out and carry out the rest of her class for that school year for her. And lo and behold, I did. It was a group of third graders, and one of the students lied on me and she told her mother that I told her to shut up, which was a complete lie. Never ever have I told a child to shut up. I've told them to, you're too loud, you need to tone it down, you need to be quiet, stuff like that, but never told them to shut up. And you have to be really careful, because children now, they are always advocating for the children. It's hard for the teachers to get a lot of, support when it comes to these behavioral issues. So what I'm finding is that same boy, they said he was fighting the girls and, was being real, I guess, he's acting very aggressively towards the teachers. He was sitting in the cafeteria as if nothing ever happened. They told me his name, what he looked like, told me stories about him. And I'm just like, how does the school allow him to come back into school and not be expelled out of school? Like, they try not to expel children anymore from school. And I don't know if people are aware of this, but expulsion, they don't want to do that because they said it's a bad reflection on the schools. They don't and then if the child is having bad behavior and you call to get them removed out of the class, after about 20 minutes, they bring them back in the classroom. 20 minutes, they're back in the classroom sometimes. Or they just get to go chill out in the office, with whoever the counselor is, or the BMT is like a behavior specialist. Sometimes they talk to them, they coddle them, they give them, toys, treats, bribe them. I mean, it's just ridiculous, because I remember when I went to school, they still had paddling. Like, you could get a spanking on your hand with a ruler. Your parents had to sign up for it though, but my parents never signed up for that, for us to go through that, because we were not problematic. Like, we had a good upbringing and we had discipline and we knew how to act going to school and going into public. So it was none of this nonsense of talking back to the teacher, acting out and, trying to get all of this negative attention. We didn't have those issues. Disciplinary issues were not a problem for us. So It's a lot that has to do with the parenting and the society that we're living in today. So that's why I'm saying if you're thinking about becoming a teacher or getting into the education field, substitute teach first. If you think it's not for you, then, pick another career path that falls in alignment with what you like to do. You might want to think about college, teaching college, because you know that there's more structure. Hopefully, you're dealing with more adult minded like people. And I know people can be childish, but these children have like really bad discipline issues, and sometimes you're just not in the mood to deal with it. So when you see these videos on YouTube about how these teachers snapped and they just walked out, I probably can understand why, because they're underpaid. So this is a good way for you to get your feet in the door and kind of see if this is really the career path of your choice, y'all, because you can get into a career field and then feel like, oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into? So now that I've had basically the opportunities to substitute teach, I used to consider just a little bit about thinking about becoming a teacher, but I am glad that I did not choose that for my career path. I am glad that I hold my real estate license, and I don't intend to get rid of my real estate license or my clothing brand, Brown.Girls.Are.Beautiful, or my notary license, y'all. So just always have other outlets to make multiple streams of income if, that's something that you're considering, because you always don't want to feel like this is the only thing that you have, like you're under pressure. And I know people stay in a job for benefits, but trust and believe you will be able to get benefits again. There are ways around it, and just trust the universe, trust the creators, your spiritual angel ancestors, your divine timing. The universe will provide a way for you. So those are, that's just a little bit of advice from yours truly. I hope this video is helpful for anybody that's thinking about becoming a substitute teacher. I'm sorry, becoming a full-time teacher. I don't do middle school. I refuse to do middle school, and I refuse to do high school. That's just out of the question for me. One day, I went to the school. I was supposed to do second grade, I think. They put me in kindergarten, I believe. Halfway through the day, this was not on the schedule that I accepted. They said, oh, now we're going to switch you over to seventh grade at the second half of the day. First of all, let me tell you about that kindergarten class. It was a problematic autistic child that disrupted the whole class the whole entire time, to the point where there's no way those children could focus and concentrate. It is really disrespectful on the parents' behalf to have their child in a classroom because they refuse to accept that their child is not like the rest of they're not like the rest of the children, meaning their child is disruptive in class, and that is not fair to the other students. He had outbursts, he had behavioral issues, he was yelling out constantly. It was just loud in there. It was to the point where there's no way a child could focus. Because of his disruptive behavior, it started impacting the rest of the children, and some of the other children that had these, symptoms. It started basically exacerbating their symptoms, and they started acting out as well because they feed off of each other's energy. So I felt like that was just ridiculous, right? And I'm pretty sure that the parents have to know, or the guardians have to know, your child is not like the rest of the children. You need to put them in specialized schooling. So that was one issue. And then after I got out of that class, they were supposed to send me to another class. Seventh grade is what they told me I was going to be doing. So I saw, the children in the hallway, the principal speaking to them, and I'm saying, are those the seventh graders? Because they looked really, really large. And she was like, oh no, those are the fifth graders. I said, I didn't even know y'all had seventh grade in the school. Oh yeah, they're upstairs. So they had upstairs to the school where the seventh graders dwell, that I had never seen them before because I had been going there substitute teaching kindergarten, and I never saw those children before. So when it was time for the switch over, it was their recess time. I said, oh, they still get recess? So we're outside during recess, and I'm looking, I'm like, y'all, they already should have been in high school, y'all. So it was time for recess, so I stayed out there for recess time. We went to the class. I got into the classroom, sat down at the desk. Everybody was in there. And I just looked at them, and I could already tell they wanted to try me. I could already tell. I just could feel it, like they just waiting to come out. And I walked out of there. I said, I'm not doing this. I'm not. I refuse. I'm just not. It's not worth it. So I walked out the classroom, and then one of the staff members said, "Is Miss G, is everything okay?" And I said, "I'm not doing this." I said, "I will leave." So she said, "Okay, we'll put you somewhere else." They sent me to second grade. And I don't know what they did with those seventh graders, but I just wasn't doing it. So I went to second grade as if that was any better. They were just as problematic. Y'all, they were very unruly. Behavior issues were off the chain. They had a BMT specialist in there, which is a guy, and usually the children respond better to men and males, and that's why I would like to see more males get into the school system and start being more of a presence in the schools, because they see females as more of a maternal instinct, but they see males as more of an authority figure. So if you are a male and you're thinking about working in the school system, trust and believe they need you here. But yeah, those second graders were really, really just off the chain. It was a nightmare. And I was just glad when the school day was over. One of the BMT specialists was a female, and I saw her relocate to a different school. She started coming to the school where I used to be. And she was saying that, the children they have spitting problems. They will hit, they will kick, they will do. She said somebody spit on her. I said, oh no. See, I don't deal with that type of stuff. It's no way. And then also somebody was telling me that one of the students there was selling weed at the school. They didn't put him out. They let him come right back to class, right back into the school. I'm like, that is craziness. So what has the school system come to? Y'all, there is no school. And as much as I complain about the school system, I feel like they need some type of structure in their lives. So school might be the only place where they're getting this structure. And a lot of them don't like to be disciplined. They don't like to be told what to do. They're very defiant because they're not having this structure at home. It's a lot of things going on in the environments that are causing the behavior when they get out in public, and they're going to be problematic when they get released into society. A lot of them are going to jail. They're going to be locked up, and they're going to be committing crimes. And I hate to say it like that, but that's just the blatant truth. So y'all, especially that boy that's putting his hands on girls and broke a teacher's hand, it's no way. I would have just had to lose my job and lose my teaching license, because no child is going to sit up there and cause bodily harm to me, because we will go to battle. Okay. I don't know. But yeah. So just, take my word of advice. If you are thinking about becoming a teacher, substitute teach first and see if this is something you can handle, because you never know what type of children you're going to get and if this is something that you have the endurance to endure. All right, I am signing out. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a blessed day.